It's Rob!
Tony!
We're in gaming!
And that's you!
Hello gamers and welcome back to the I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And today we're going to be playing some Miracle Rogue in the new season. We played it a little bit yesterday just to make sure I knew what I was doing with this rogue deck. It is probably one of my most unfamiliar classes. But we've been doing pretty well with it, considering we went from like rank 16 to 12, and maybe the hour I was playing yesterday just to kind of get familiar with the deck and read up on some better player than I's thought process on like mulligans and stuff like that. So going against Druid, we've actually changed some things around in the deck that I think are kind of go along with my playstyle a little bit better. So if you see the deck list and you're like, oh, I don't really like that, feel free to change it around. This isn't like set in stone. Again, this is a deck testing video of just me playing the deck, seeing how well we can do on ladder, maybe going up a few ranks. And then when we hit to like probably a rank 7, 6, somewhere in there, we'll go back to our road to Legend and then go down to Legend. Then we'll continue on with our deck guides like we did last season, but hopefully be able to get to Legend, not in like the last, weekish, and then we kind of were tight on time when making the deck guides. I don't particularly like this opening hand at all. We're looking for our 4-drops mainly, backstabs, preps. Shadow Strike's really not that bad if he decides he wants to like to innervate out something really huge. So just for the fact that, I'm really unlucky and I'm going to take it that this guy is going to have some crazy start, we're going to keep the Shadow Strike. You always got to expect the double innervate. He doesn't have coin, but he can still double innervate on turn 2 and summon a turn 6 card like an Emperor. And then we would just Shadow Strike it. Oh god, there's the one, and I swear to fucking god if he double innervates. Okay. Well, this is why we kept the Shadow Strike, people. Like, this is legitly why we kept the Shadow Strike. Alright, so we can either prep Shadow Strike or coin Shadow Strike. I kind of like coin Shadow Strike, as this turn isn't gonna, like, we could use our, Dagger Mastery if we use the prep, but I think prep is a little bit more valuable than a coin. Because the coin only gives you 1 mana, as the prep potentially gives you 3. Hey, that's pretty good. A 2/5. So we can actually not kill that. We can return it to his hand, but that doesn't seem that great. So I think we just weapon up here. I think that's it, right? If we backstab swing, next turn we could sap whatever. No, that wouldn't be a play. I think we just hold on. I think we can afford to take 2 damage, unless he like gives it the +2/+2 draw card. So he's innervating out a 6-drop, so do we have Emperor on the scene? Ooh, a Dark Barbacoa. So we're definitely going to be sapping that back to his hand without a doubt. So if we sap this, we're going to see it again on turn 6. We don't really have a great way to deal with it now, so I think the sap is our best move. And then we know next turn is going to be, we have double backstab for Auctioneer and prep. So the question is right now, do we hit into this 2/5? Do we backstab it? Do we maybe next turn do like an SI agent, swing with a weapon if we draw another card? Or if he plays a 5-drop, we throw in another backstab. That makes our Auctioneer worse. This is where Rogue is hard because we really don't know what our turn 5 is going to turn out for. Like, let's say we actually get a decent turn 5. I think we just go face. I don't really think that 2-drop, 2 attack damage. We're still at 28. And we have 1 turn until the Barbacoa comes out. And we got to take care of Chipotle again, so.
Where shall I strike?
God, this guy's curve is ridiculous. It's been a non-stop creature extravaganza every turn. All right, so unfortunately, we are going to have to use some of our CC. I mean, we could Leroy here to clear this, but backstab, SI agent, and then re-weapon seems to be pretty good just to kind of combat his field right now. And we're going to SI agent the 2/5. We could have backstabbed it and then swung our weapon into it, but the thing is, if we use that, then we don't have a really good Auctioneer turn, and we know he's going to summon the 5/6 next turn of the 5/7 with Taunt. We could actually go ahead and swing into the 2/3, or we go face, and that is the question at hand. We know he's playing the 6-drop, and then if this swings into there, I think we just go face here. No, we don't go face. We hold our weapon because we draw Deadly Poison. We use that. So there's the 6-drop, and then this goes face. Okay, we know this. All right, so this is where this is, we can, yeah, we're just gonna go Auctioneer and hope for the best. Let's start off with the backstab. Cold-blooded actually is pretty good here. Another prep is sick. We're actually gonna just cold-blood this first. And we're gonna prep again. Hopefully we draw into a spell. We did not. That kind of sucks.
Lights out.
I guess we should have held on to that prep, but the chances of drawing a spell were pretty high. What to do with this weapon? Our turn 7 is most likely going to be these two, so we're not going to be re-weaponing up, so there's no point to attack in, so we want to save the 2 durability on our weapon. Wild Growth to 8 mana, and then he's going to swipe that. Okay. So it looks like he has probably a Sarge in his hand or something big that he would want a Wild Growth that early. Normally people do not throw down the Wild Growth like that. That is not the average play. We could go for the 3/3 or we could go for the 4/4 Van Cleef. I think putting down some decent creatures is fairly important right now. And then we can actually go face with our weapon. Because next turn we'll most likely have room to use our Dagger Mastery. So I wouldn't... he has Sonaris too. Please don't tell me he drew a 9-drop. Okay, another 6-drop. I mean, theoretically we can get through that with a Leroy Jenkins. Maybe we can draw into the Fan of Knives to like kind of... be able to combat this a little bit better, so we'll see what happens. Ibis, okay. So we could Leroy, that just seems bad, right? Leroy swing, creates 2/2/2s, kill 1, kill 1, kill 1, and then we would Farseer ourselves.
My eyes are open.
Seems decent. And then this dies, and then this dies. Actually go face, but we're not going to do that.
I will not be trifled.
Sea Witch into Usarge, or whatever his name is, yeah. It's going to be rough, boys. It's going to be rough. Okay. Well, we know this has to die. So if this is 5, that's 5. Careful. Now we have a coin. Dagger Mastery. This trades, well, yeah, this trades.
Here we go.
I guess this trades and then this trades. Okay, so we've semi-dealt with the field. He only has 2 cards in hand, so as long as he doesn't like rip and nourish or like some crazy high drop, swipe is pretty good for him considering he clears our board. And he pushes lethal next turn because he has the Azure Drake out. So maybe keeping the Sea Witch, killing off the Sea Witch was bad. Because he has 10 mana, he's going to play this shit anyway. But either way, we got to deal with that Azure Drake. So start off with a coin and see what happens. Conceal is decent. Just use it, I suppose. The reason I haven't played the Teacher is because we're looking for spells that can deal with this Azure Drake. So we're going to Deadly Poison. A Shadow Strike is getting to like the only card that we can actually use here to deal with that. Fan of Knives, now there's no way to win. We needed to draw into some sort. We already used doubly this, so we were looking for like a Sap or a Shadow Strike. And then we could have maybe made a comeback as long as he didn't like pull a charge card out, but he had a pretty sick start if you ask me. I mean, we kind of foresaw the Fandral, you know, the decent innervate out a big creature, which we had 1 Shadow Strike for, but then, you know, the bombardment of the Druid of the Fang, the 2/5 that had a lot of health that we couldn't really get rid of. On top of that, both of his 6/7s that came out, you know, it was rough. It was rough. We only drew into, we only had drawn into 1 sap. Could have maybe had a better Auctioneer turn, but leaving those creatures on the board, we would have taken even more damage. Alright, so getting a sap, I really don't see a reason. Well, this is pretty good against Warrior, as they play like Frothing Berserker pretty early on. Deadly Poison's decent with the Teacher. We also have Coin, so I really don't mind this hand. Along with that, if he's playing Pirate, which seems to be a really popular deck right now, the Abyss, the Deadly Poison's pretty good. And then the Violet Teacher, the ability to make these 1/1s to make those trades. That's pretty cool. So this hand's really not that bad. So Warshack, if he goes face, okay, so it looks like more of a control warrior right now from what we've seen. Not attacking with our weapon. So if he just armors up and ends his turn, then I'm going to assume he's playing like some sort of Cthulhu control or just normal control. Berserkers, so this tells me he's most likely going to be playing Tempo, which is like 90% right now, or he could be playing Pirate Rogue. So a few of our options could be Violet Teacher, or Coin, Violet Teacher, Preps, Abyss, which would, you know, be able to deal with that, or we could just Shadow Strike this down and then play the Violet Teacher, Coin, and then Deadly Poison, whatever he brings out next turn. What would be his turn 4 play? I think we can just Shadow Strike this. I don't think going balls deep on the Teacher. Actually, going balls deep on the Teacher against a Tempo Warrior sounds pretty good, considering they don't run Brawl. So maybe that was the correct play. So hopefully whatever he plays right now has 3 HP. If that's the case, then Teacher, Coin, Deadly Poison was the right move. But if he plays like a Korkron is fine, another Berserker is bad, because then I guess we could still use Prep though. So Prep Abyss instead of Coin. Save Coin and save Deadly. Acolyte of Pain and then Inner Rage. Oh, Blood Icar. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, well now this is a bit of a situation because we want to kill the Acolyte because he's going to be able to draw 3 cards from that due to the fact that, like, if we well, no, yes. This is bad. Okay, because if we Violet Teacher, Deadly Poison, kill off this, then he still has the 3/2 and the 2/2 that kills off the Violet Teacher. If we kill off the 2/2, then he can draw 2 cards and then has a greater chance to kill the Violet Teacher with a Slam. We could coin Azure Drake. That doesn't feel that great. But he draws a lot of cards the other way.
Pay attention, class.
I'm ready to learn.
Here we go.
I'm ready to learn.
We could Prep Sap that back to his hand, but we're not going to.
I'll meet you soon.
I know he's going to be able to draw cards. If he uses an Execute on our Teacher, that's fine. That's why we run 2. But, you know, this gives him a decent amount of card draw, which is not good. He gets 3 cards out of an Acolyte. So 3 mana, draw 3 cards, 1/3 card. Pretty good. And it killed one of our 1/1s. He's most likely going to make this trade. But next turn we have either Azure Drake, or we can actually just go another Violet Teacher. Alright, so he's going to go with the draw another card. Probably see a Slam on our Teacher. Yeah, so Slam, swing with weapon. Blood Icar, Execute works. If he hits it, maybe see a Bash. Probably not, though. So probably an Execute here from what it looks like. If he attacks first, yeah. But this is fine because we have another Teacher. Brave, looks like that's going to get sapped. Well, we could actually go about it a different way. And Teacher, Prep, Abyss, Swing. I think that's pretty good.
Here we go.
Or we go Sap, but Sap doesn't necessarily deal with it.
Here we go.
But then we spend the weapon charge on here, we swing the 1/1s into there. Well, what else would we Sap? Ah, I know what we'd Sap. This is the right move. And then this goes into here. So he can't 1/1 into our 3/5 again. He's going to have to swing his weapon into it. But the reason I didn't use Sap is because if he plays Sylvanas and or Karen Bloodhoof, we need to Sap those guys. So there's the slam, and here's the hit, but we have Azure Drake to keep the draw kind of semi going for us still. Another Alkalite of Pain, that's pretty fucking good. Whirlwind, oh my god, disgusting. No auctioneers. No auctioneers. Like, depending on our opening hand and what we draw, I kind of use our spells to kind of set up for auctioneers, but the fact that no auctioneer has set into our hand and we're playing against a tempo warrior, you can't just make the assumption that it's going to draw exactly when you need it. So we kind of have to keep the... he's drawn 3 cards each from his Alkalite. So looking at his hand, if he were to not have drawn those 3 cards, he would have 0 cards in his hand right now. It's rough. It's rough. All right, so we'll fan.
This guy's toast.
Hit that, and that's about all we can do for now. I wish I could have used our weapon or played the other SI agent to kill the 2-1, but we didn't actually have that. So now he's gonna Rag or he's gonna Malkorok.
Armor.
Both of those are pretty bad. Oh, he doesn't have them yet.
Armor.
Pretty quick. How he has 5 more cards drawn than the Miracle Rogue, and this is because we cannot draw our Gadshin Auctioneers. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but those are pretty important cards in the deck. So he uses his weapon to take the face damage, which is fine, I suppose. It's getting a bit rough out here on the battlefield. Backstab's pretty good, but unfortunately we still have not been able to draw into how you say the Miracle Auctioneer. He is going to gain a lot of armor, but we really don't have an option around this for the time being, due to the fact that there is no particularly great way for us to deal with those Acolytes of Pain. He or the Armor Smiths. He has, however, used 2 executes, so his kind of trading mechanisms now are through his big creatures. So let's say he doesn't draw into his big creatures the same as we haven't drawn into our auctioneers. We might get a little bit lucky here and be able to clear some of these Armor Smiths with our creatures. Following turn, maybe draw into an... If we can draw into an auctioneer, he plays like Karen Bloodhoof now. We sap that, we draw a couple cards. We kill off both his Armor Smiths. We're in a pretty good situation. And then also maybe draw into like a Conceal. That'd be super sick. But him playing like, so Whirlwind, gain 4 armor. I see an Execute down on the 6/5 then. Battle Rage, draw 3 cards. Well, that's pretty good for you. Man. Berserker, okie dokie. Ravishing Ghoul, okie dokie. So we'll probably return the Berserker, unless we can draw some form of killing potential. Yeah, great.
Lapdogs, all of you.
Here we go.
This is rough. We can't draw our auctioneers, man. Where is the card draw? Where are the cycling? Where's the miracle? There's no miracles happening here, boys. It's less miracles, more getting pounded. This warrior has more health now than what he started with. Oh my god. When life gives you bad RNG. Draw. Oh my fucking god. Like, look at that. He drew 9 more cards in the Miracle Rogue. What can we do? This is a 2 losses in a row deck testing kind of video right now. Like, this is one of the changes I think I mentioned earlier was I didn't mention it in specific, but I said I was gonna maybe make changes to the deck. One of which was going to be throwing in Yogg, and that would help in the situations like we were in, like where it looks like we're going to lose no matter what. Then you play Yogg as like your big red button. But the problem is, if Yogg, you draw him early on in the game, he just sits in your hand. He's a dead card, and for Rogue to have like a dead card just sitting in his hand, or sitting in our hand, is really bad. I honestly always like Shadow Strike in my hand because it's just a good card. Evis early on, I mean, what do we want? Better, like, what do we want more? It's either Evis or Shadow Strike, and I actually like Shadow Strike more than Evis. Early on, that is. Because the Animal Companions gets Leok, gets something good. We can just Shadow Strike that down. But most of the time they play, what is it called? The Elic. The Alik. And then if we don't have a backstab, it's rough. So hopefully he doesn't have, okay, always have it. So now we hope for an Elic, or our backstab. Because we don't want to Shadow Strike a 3-2. That just feels horrible. Nope. So we can Abyss, or we can just take 3. And then, but next turn we know we're coining out the Pillager. So we're taking at least 6. So I think we Abyss. Feels bad, man, but we can't afford to take, let's say we give him a 10-point to 15-point damage boost and make it to the late game. He call the wilds, and then we take at least 8 in 1 turn. That's rough. So, kind of being able to stop hunters from getting that super early board control, considering we don't have a ton of field clear, is really important. And I'm going to make the assumption that that is going to be a freezing trap, but we still have to play as if hopefully it is not. Because we can't afford not to play any creatures. So worst case scenario, Eaglehorn Bow, passive. He can't even throw a passive in there, but he can still Eaglehorn Bow. Infested Wolf is actually really good for him as well. All right, so I guess we make this trade here. It could be snakes. That would be really bad. I'll call you after, buddy. All right. Could be bear. Could be snakes. I guess we just attack the wolf, see what happens. Freezing, of course. Play the other Tomb Pillager. Now this guy's, I guess if he, what's he called, Houndmaster, it still dies to our Tomb Pillager because it has 5 attack. And then we are going to get the coin next turn, so we could coin Auctioneer, but then it'd be pointless because we have no 0-drop spells. We kind of want to save the coin on 6 so we can coin and then conceal. But the problem is we're going against a Hunter and they have Deadly Shot, so they can actually kill off our Auctioneer even if it's stealthed with that Deadly Shot. So you got to be careful about that. And by being careful, we kind of just hope he doesn't have it. That's being careful. So there's the Houndmaster, but again, this still makes the trade, so it's just better for him to go face without a doubt here. And this is why we have the Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike is so good, but then it doesn't really matter which one we kill. It doesn't matter whatsoever. So we're going to Shadow Strike the 1. We're going to kill this guy, so now we have the coin. We can just use our weapon to kill off these 1/1s. And then we're going to hope he doesn't have a Savannah High Main right here. And if he does, then we can go Auctioneer, Coin, Prep, Sap, Conceal. If we draw Sap. But hopefully we hope he doesn't have a High Main. If High Main makes contact with your face 1 time, how you say meh, you lose. Fan of Knives. Alright, so we Auctioneer, we go with the coin first, always coin first. Fan of Knives, so it doesn't look like we're going to have that great of an Auctioneer turn, but this is okay, because we still, there's our Sap, so if we play Savannah High Main, we're still looking good. Next turn's looking pretty sick, as long as he doesn't have that Deadly Poison, because we're going for, he's going to swing face with his 5, we can start off with a Shadow Strike, which, for some reason I thought that had the damage, like, crossed out. Must have been seeing things. Animal Companion, he still has room for a Deadly Shot. Fuck my life. Always Deadly Shot. Well, this into Conceal doesn't win. Shadow Strike brings this. We're going to have to take another 4 from Huffer. And yeah, we're not going to sap the Huffer as it does have charge. It's going to heal ourselves and hope to God he doesn't have a ton of damage in his hand. The Deadly Shot is what changed the game right there. Him Deadly Shotting the Auctioneer. We called this out like 2 turns prior, but you can't play around a Deadly Shot unless you bring out 2 creatures, and then it's still a 50% chance. And we don't have time to play 2 creatures against the Hunter. And remember early on, if we wouldn't have Abyssed that Elic, then we would have taken at least 6 more damage, putting us at 8 right now. And this is, again, not looking too great. So drawing into how you say meh. Wow, this guy's going face, which tells me he probably has Call of the Wild, but we needed, how you say our backstabs, which we can't seem to draw. So I guess we're just going to start off with the Auctioneer Conceal, hopefully get something. This doesn't help us. We can literally do nothing from here, so we lose.
I give up.
Theoretically, we could have gone double Fan of Knives right there, but that's not a winning play because it doesn't actually put anything on the board, and he still has 5 damage and 3 cards in hand, and we had 8 HP. So it was kind of like play to win there, not play to not lose, because playing to not lose in that particular situation, we would have lost the turn after that. So we'll play one more game with Rogue. Unfortunately, we've lost every single game we've played this morning, but that's what happens sometimes, guys. You get unlucky. And also, we're not that we're new to Rogue, but it's probably one of our least played and most inexperienced classes. Not to say that we're bad, we're just not as good with it as some other classes like Warrior. So we get rid of Cold-Blooded. We have Deadly Poison, so holding on to the Abyss doesn't feel that great. We're looking for, again, 3 drops, 4 drops, backstabs. So that game we did draw Auctioneer, though, so I can't even be mad. I can't be mad that we never really got a true Auctioneer turn off due to the fact we got Deadly Shotted while it was concealed, but nonetheless, we actually were able to draw it, which was quite nice, because normally we don't draw our Auctioneers. So there's the Fiery Bat, which is okie dokie. So we'll actually use our Wicked Knife. There's a Backstab. Sweet. So we're not going to actually use Backstab because there's no point to. We want to use our 3 mana to Farseer back our face. So we're back at 30 now. We've developed a 3/3 on the board. Some people have actually chosen to play the double Farseer, which is fine. They just kind of take away one of the Violet Teachers, which, in my opinion, Violet Teacher wins you more matchups than a Farseer does. So that's why I play 2 Violet Teachers and only 1 Farseer at the moment. Because Violet Teachers against any class that doesn't have, like Tempo Warrior, it's fantastic most of the time if they don't draw into their double Whirlwind and Ravaging Ghouls and stuff like they normally always do. But alright, so double Backstab, Leroy. So obviously this is not trading into there as in this happens. So theoretically, if we could we could Deadly Poison, Backstab, and then this stays healthy, and then he can't Houndmaster. And as bad as that looks, I mean, it's terrible. We're not going to do that. But it actually is a solid move for that reason. Yeah, I do not like leaving beasts up, to be completely honest. Like, leaving cards up is bad.
So many options.
So if we... No, we don't want to use a Backstab. We really don't. So we're just going to go... We're going to use a Deadly Poison. We're going to kill off this thing. I don't like leaving 2 1/1s up. I really do not. But using double Backstab is... that's so bad on so many different levels. So we're just not. So there's the Elec. Please don't get a Savannah High main. Okay. I know now you're running Death Rattle Hunter. So if we would have double backstabbed that, he would have had to use a weapon charge and he would have taken 5 more. But then we wouldn't have been able to. I guess we could have been able to deal with that. But either way, it's decent. But he hasn't used his weapon charge, so when we SI Agent, it doesn't actually kill anything. Or it's going to get killed the following turn, but I guess it's okay. So we can swing for 3 right here, but I kind of want to save it, even though we have Backstab Abyss. So maybe going in and just re-upping the weapon's fine, but I think we hold on to it. Because what is our turn? Yeah, most likely not going to re-up next turn, which means we're not attacking, so we're just going to hold on to it. Unfortunately, our SI Agent's going to die. He hasn't really had a crazy start, so Savannah Highmane, Twilight Summoner. So this guy's playing a rendition of the Hunter deck that absolutely, in my opinion, it's horrible. But if I draw a Sap here, if I could draw a Sap, or yeah, a Sap here is really good. Van Cleef is okay. Should we go for a big Van Cleef? But then the problem is he deadly shots. So, backstab, Abyss, weapon, Van Cleef.
I wonder.
So we could have actually attacked last turn with our weapon, and then, yeah, that would have been better. Yep, it would have worked out perfectly. If I'd had Van Cleef in my hand, this is 5 mana, and then this is free, and then this would be 7, and then we'd swing the 1 into here. No, then we'd backstab the 5/5 and then Abyss it. Feels bad, man. Could have coined, but I need to save this for auctioneer. So, if we draw him. So we lost out on 2 damage for not attacking face in the prior turn. There's a deadly shot, so that saves us. So saves an auctioneer, maybe from dying. We have no play here. What a turn 8. Literally turn 8 pass. Feels bad, man. And theoretically, we could have Leroy Jenkins, but then he would just die. Teacher's pretty weak as well.
Pay attention, class.
I'm not sure exactly what I had planned with this teacher. I mean, we could cold blood her, summon a 1/1, and then she dies. Good stuff. We're just not drawing well, guys. Like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, this is rough. Rough. So, like, Azure Drake into Fan of Knives would bring us back. But then we have N'Zoth to deal with on turn 10. A sap doesn't... What the fuck am I gonna do with this hand, guys? We legit just can't do anything. Like, we're drawing all of our, like, our last cards have been Prep, Sap, and the Violet Teacher. And the Violet Teacher is good if we have spells to cast, but we don't. And the thing is, even if now if we draw in the Auctioneer now, we still have a chance to bring this back. That's the sad part. But we have to draw into Auctioneer, and we don't. We just draw another sap.
Here we go.
Like, so much unlucky. All right, well, we lose.
I give up.
Okay. All right, well, I'm done playing Rogue this morning. I said I'd play a decent amount of Rogue, but obviously this morning is not when this game wants me to play Rogue. Yesterday we were playing Rogue. We weren't getting the best hands, but we were getting decent hands that we could, like, use. But, like, you saw my last 4 games, guys. There's nothing, I mean, I might have made some slight misplays. I'm not a tier 1 Rogue player, but in general, I played the class, you know, I think fairly well. We didn't make any huge misplays. It's not like we missed out and we didn't, prep coin. We didn't do any of that shenanigans. You also could say, oh, you're losing because you don't have Zeril in the deck, and Zeril has potential of draw and more combos with whatever. The problem with Zeril is he's a 4-drop 3/2. If you play him on turn 4 versus any single class, I can guarantee you, unless their hand is absolute garbage, their turn 4 is going to be much stronger. And the fact that he only gives you that, like, he's situational. You know what I mean? So he's good when he's good, but when you're not ahead on board, he's really, really bad. And as a rogue, you kind of want to either sustain your, like, either build a decent board early with the Violet Teacher shenanigans with prep, sap, backstab, and things like that, which we weren't able to do it all today. Or you've got your Tomb Pillager, SI Agent, got your Fan of Knives. Like, there's so much early game in this deck that kind of combats your opponent's early game. And then in the late game, like we mentioned, we've got the Gadgets and Auctioneer that allows you to recycle all of those things that you've used in the early game to be able to have, like, a decent mid-game finisher, which is where this deck excels at. It's not a late-game deck by any means. It's more of the mid-range burst with the 1 to 2 turn combos with the Leroy double Cold Blood and stuff. So I know how the deck is run. It's just unfortunately we didn't have the opportunity to pull off some of those combos. But either way, as always, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the deck guide. I know I always enjoy watching a person lose 4 times in a row, and as always, wow, I messed that up. I'm Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.